Thank you all for being here tonight at our Bluejay Family Live panel, validating and celebrating students of color and their families. My name is Ann DeLuca, and I serve as director of our Office of Student and Family Support, and I'm going to serve as your MC tonight. So before we jump into the organization of the night and some reminders, I just want to start with our first slide to talk about why we host a panel like this at Creighton. So Ryan, I'll have you go to the next slide. And while that's kicking to the next one, I see Ryan going, it's not going. I'll just jump into why we host a panel like this at Creighton. We know that once students are on a university campus, a major influence in their sense of belonging is the climate of our campus. And we also know that faculty, staff, and administrators all play a big role in that campus climate. So it pushes us to create programming that emphasizes respect and inclusion at Creighton University. So pretty much everyone on this call supports those efforts in creating outreach and programs that showcase that level of respect and inclusion that we strive for. So we know that understanding the experience of the academic journey of our students is super important, particularly the experiences of our students of color and their families. And so again, tonight is designed to show that we are 100% committed to your student success. We're here, we're reaching out, and this is just one example. In fact, currently we have put together a campaign called Strive to Thrive, which is on our next slide. And the goal of this campaign is to ask students, parents, and families to reach out if they feel like their student needs some extra support in the next month or couple months until we get to summer. Our goal is to make students feel like they belong while they're at Creighton. So if you or your student or a friend if you know that they could benefit from an outreach from the Success Center, please email us at thrive@creighton.edu. So with that, I'm going to jump into our next slide, which really focuses on the format of the night. So first, I want to encourage all of you who are viewing at home to use the Q&A function throughout the night, because everyone on the call is open to answer questions. So for those of you who are sitting at home right now, I want to practice this Q&A function. So take your cursor and bring it down to the bottom of the screen. And you should see a icon that says Q&A. Go ahead and click it. And the people who are sitting at home tonight, can you type in where you're sitting tonight, like where you're from? And that'll give us a little test of that Q&A function. Let's see, give it another second. Oh, there we go. We have Illinois, Massachusetts. Oh my goodness, we're really covering the United States here. Texas, great. Tremendous. Thank you all for sharing. You can continue to share if you're still testing out that function. But again, that's going to be the way that we ask you to submit your questions tonight, is through that Q&A function. And our behind the scenes team is going to jump on those questions. Our session will go 1 hour tonight. And if we don't get to your question, our team will follow up this week. Again, our goal is to open up those lines of communication, and so we're here to follow up. With that, I think we'll go to the next slide to jump into the agenda for the night, and then we will get things rolling. So first, I already talked a little bit about Strive to Thrive, that campaign. If you know somebody who needs a reach out, email thrive@creighton.edu. Next, we are going to go into a student reflection from one of our students, Serena Martinez. Then we'll go into a welcome from our Vice President of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Sarah Walker. After that, we've prepared some student success data that will be presented by the director of our John Fahey Career Center, Jeremy Fisher. After that, we've compiled a group of student success representatives who want to talk to you about housing and advising and tutoring and counseling. And so start getting those questions ready. And then we will finish this webinar with our 2 student representatives who are going to share just a little bit of advice about what it's like to be a student here at Creighton. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. We're excited to jump in, and we will start by passing things over to Serena Martinez to open up with a student reflection. Serena, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Serena. I'm a freshman currently in the College of Arts and Sciences. So I just want to start off with a little reflection to get our night kicked off. So there was once a group of 100 people attending a seminar on personal development. In the middle of their talk, the speaker stops and decides to run an impromptu group activity. He hands out a balloon to each attendee and tells them to write their name on it. The balloons are then collected and placed in an adjacent room. The speaker then instructs the 100 attendees to enter that room and within 5 short minutes, find the balloon with their name on it. Pandemonium breaks loose as they charge in, pushing and colliding with each other as they desperately search for their name. The 5 minutes pass and nobody succeeds. The speaker then tells each person to pick up any random balloon and give it to the person whose name is written on it. Within a few minutes, everyone has their balloon back. He then said, "What just happened with those balloons is exactly what happens in our search for happiness. We frantically look for it all around us, not knowing where it is. Yet our happiness lies in the happiness of others. By giving them their happiness, you get yours." So the moral of this story is that happiness and fulfillment rarely come from selfish pursuits, but almost always come from doing good deeds for others. By helping others, we help ourselves. Thank you, guys.
Serena, thank you for sharing that. That's such a great backdrop for tonight, talking about happiness and working together. So I think that was a great selection. Thank you for reading that to us. Now I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Sarah Walker to provide a welcome to everyone. Dr. Walker.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I hope that everyone is well. My name is Dr. Sarah Singletary Walker. I am the Vice President for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at Creighton. One of the things that is really important to us at Creighton is to make sure that our students can thrive while they're here. So you saw the program on striving to thrive, but that is a key avenue for the area of equity, diversity, and inclusion in the work that we do every day. So how do we make sure that your students are feeling supported, that they feel like they belong, and that they can really thrive at Creighton as they discern their professions of interest? And so what I'd really like for you to get, I know you've talked to your students that come home over breaks, probably call them on the phone at night, or, like hopefully they answer the phone, that they're not just texting you. But, as you communicate and you learn about their experiences at Creighton, I wanted to give you a sense of some of the space that we have that is really welcoming for all of our students in general, and in particular for our students of color. And this is a space that's known as the Creighton Intercultural Center. And my next slide will have a visualization of the space. Serena Martinez, who you just heard from, is actually a student who is employed by the CIC and spends quite a bit of time there, but she's not alone in the CIC. And so this is really space that students can hang out in, they can study in. This week with March Madness, I'm sure on Thursday and Friday, we will have the television on, and there will be students that are gathered around watching games in this space and in other spaces on campus. In addition, we have some space in there that supports our women students. So we have a Lieben Center for Women, which provides some programming on women's empowerment. It's the month of March, so so we are highly talking about Women's History Month, and that's very visible. But really, for a variety of our cultural groups, our affinity groups on campus, this is space that they can make their own. That they're, in addition to these social spaces, there's also a kitchen. And so we'll often see individuals having meals with one another or preparing snacks. On Wednesdays, we love to have kind of popcorn Wednesdays, which is fun for the students. So there's, it's like movie theater popcorn where they hang out in. But really, I just wanted to give you a sense of what are the types of things that we are doing and the ways we're trying to be attentive for all of our students so that they can thrive. And this is just one small example of some of the work that we're doing. And over the rest of tonight, you will hear about more ways we are really seeking to make sure that students are having a good experience while they're here at Creighton. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. And is it okay? I have a quick question before we kick things over to Jeremy.
Sure.
If a first-year student or any student has never been to the Creighton Intercultural Center, can they just walk in? What are the hours? What does that process look like?
Yeah, it's so it's in the lower level of Brandeis. Brandeis Dining Hall is where most of the first year students will dine at some point in time in the day. It is accessible, right, to all of our students. You can just walk in, come at your leisure. Beginning this year, every first year student has been in the Creighton Intercultural Center, or at least all the students in arts and sciences and nursing have been in the Creighton Intercultural Center as part of their RSP course. And so that's one way we've tried to make sure that students are aware of the space. It's typically open during business hours, but a couple of evenings a week, it's open a little bit later. So like on Mondays, maybe it's Mondays and Tuesdays, it's open until 7, from like 8 to 7. So there will be, so they have later hours certain days of the week. But if they're interested, or if you know your student, son or daughter is interested, you can reach us at cicjs@creighton.edu and reach out and ask about the hours. Serena Martinez may also be able to answer any more specific details about the hours of operation. But
Great,
all are welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. The space just looks so cool, and I know that a lot of students hang out there, and so I know sometimes we get calls from parents and families who ask, what can my student do on campus to make friends or to engage socially? And I've heard that the CIC is the place to do that. So thank you.
Yeah.
I think next we're going to turn things over to Jeremy Fisher to talk about our student success outcomes. So Jeremy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ann, and I'm honored to be with you all today in this webinar. As Ann mentioned, I'm the director of our John P. Fahey Career Center at Creighton, and I oversee all of our undergraduate and graduate career services. And we have career advisors for each college. So if you're an arts and sciences student, a nursing student, or a business student, we have a dedicated career advisor that can help you with your career advising needs and anything in terms of career exploration, internships, resumes, interview assistance, job searching, or grad school assistance. So I'm excited. The next slide, I'm excited to share some really great news, both on the retention front, but overall our success and first destination outcomes of our graduates. And in particular, I've been at Creighton for 19 years, and I can really tell you that there's a lot of really good momentum going on within the university, from especially in the last 3 to 5 years of record enrollments, record retention, record graduation rates, and record first destination outcomes. And this year in particular, we're excited to share the news that students returning from fall semester to spring semester this year, our students of color returned at a 96% rate, which is incredible. It's extremely high compared to other national institutions. And we're very, very proud of that as an example of our culture and community at Creighton. So we're really excited to continue that success, and really excited to walk you through your journey at Creighton as you explore your potential path. Next slide is going to talk a little bit more about first year to second year retention that we've been seeing. And really, this thing called a global pandemic, we have been seeing record retention rates overall at Creighton at a clip of about 92% of all of our students. But specifically, our students of color are returning from their freshman year to their sophomore year at 93%. Of course, we would love to see that 96% matriculate into sophomore year, but that's still incredible percentage in terms of what we're seeing on average to the last 2 years. It's a full percentage point better than our overall student average. The next slide is going to kind of dig in a little bit about the success of our graduates. The Career Center collects all of our first destination survey data in terms of where our students are going in terms of employment, continuing education through graduate or professional school, or if our students are doing a gap year of service or a postgraduate volunteer program. We're getting very, very close to launching our class of 2022 data, but it is very, very similar to what we were seeing here with our class of 2021. And this is predicated and based off of an 80% knowledge rate. So we heard from 80% of our graduates in terms of what their plans are within 6 months of graduation. And we're happy to report we've been seeing 98 and 99% success rates for first destinations for career outcomes overall for all of our undergraduate students. So our College of Arts and Sciences, our Hyder College of Business, and College of Nursing students overall. And then broken down by college, extremely high rates again, with arts and sciences at 100% rate, nursing and business at 99% each respectively as well. And you can kind of see the main differences in terms of who's going into employment versus pursuing an advanced degree in terms of graduate professional school, and then percentages of students that are doing a 1 or 2 year service program following graduation. The next slide kind of breaks in a little bit more specifically. And when you have a 99% rate overall for Creighton students, it's hard to have a huge discrepancy about breaking down students of color versus our overall student body. But our students of color were at a 99% clip. And the next slide, which I'll show you, really highlights a little bit more in specific detail about our demographics of how we broke into the data a little bit more. When you break it down this way, you can see the success of our graduates of students of color actually is a little bit higher than our overall percentage of student bodies. So when you look at multiracial, our Black students, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, Alaskan Native, and our Native Hawaiian and Asian Pacific Islander students, they're at 100% success rate, which is incredible compared to our white and other Asian students. And then by gender, 100% success rate for females versus 98% for our male students. But our first generation students are also excelling very well, 100% success rate for first generation students at Creighton University. And again, when we heard from 80% of all of our students, this is broken down about 23% of students of color in our response rate, which I believe that cohort year of graduates is around 26% overall. So we heard from the majority of our students in that survey data. So very happy to report that. The next slide just kind of talks a little bit about where our students are landing, where the Bluejays are flying, right? So we tend to see this every year where it's about 40 different states and about 6 to 8 different countries. Creighton University really is a national institution, regardless of where you're coming from. We have a good number of students that start their career in Omaha, but we have students in New York and San Francisco and Phoenix and Dallas and Charlotte and a variety of our Midwestern cities from Chicago, Minneapolis, Denver, Kansas City, St. Louis, Milwaukee, and so on. So if you haven't had an opportunity to meet with a career advisor in the Career Center, we would love to get to know you and your interests and make sure that we get you connected to those internship and job opportunities, both locally and nationally, to help you with your career goals. The next slide, we'll just kind of talk a little about really the key to success of our students. Really is about the internship and experiential learning opportunities our students have the opportunity to complete, whether that's study abroad, service learning, community service, leadership experiences, activities through student involvement or student organizations. But the internship piece is really important in terms of what our employers are looking for. And overall, about 80% of our students completed at least one internship or research project, with the most internships completed last year was 5 by one student. But the majority of our students do multiple experiences in their 4 years. And almost half, 43%, participated in undergraduate research, which is a great opportunity at a school like Creighton, because not very many undergrads are able to do research. Typically, you see that at large research institutions. That's usually done by graduate students or graduate assistants. So, but certainly the offer is open to help our students. And again, if families have any questions about career opportunities, internships, connections to employers and alumni, we're happy to help in the Career Center. So thank you very much.
Great. And Jeremy, I have a quick question before we kick it over to our student success panelists. If a student is interested in doing research, do they come to the Career Center? Do they start with faculty? What does that process look like?
We do have the Career Center certainly can help you get connected to faculty and opportunities through our Handshake online career system. But we also have a great resource on campus called CURIS. It stands for the Creighton Undergraduate Research and Scholarship Center. That's a great place to go. You can go to the CURIS website or email CURIS, C-U-R-A-S, at creighton.edu to get started. We're happy to help.
Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, now we're going to kick things off with our student success panel. And so we have just a slide up here to show you all of the folks that you're going to hear from tonight. And so I'm just going to keep that up for another second so everyone can see. Great. And with that, we will kick things off with Megan Fu, who is from our pre-professional advising. So Megan, you have the floor.
Wonderful. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Fu. I'm an assistant director in our Center for Undergraduate or Center for Advising Resources and Support, working with a lot of our pre-health and pre-law students. But tonight, I just wanted to give a couple of reminders and things to keep in mind as you all start thinking about registering for classes for next fall and also potentially this summer. So freshman registration is coming up here pretty soon. So similar to last semester, to get your PIN number and your registration date and time, you need to be meeting with your RSP advisor or your primary academic advisor. So kind of keep an eye out on your email. They're likely going to be reaching out to you in the next couple of weeks to talk about scheduling that advising appointment. So it's really important that you meet with them and talk about what went well this semester, if you need any extra support, and then also thinking through kind of where you're going to register and what classes you're going to take moving forward in your college career. When you do go to register, it's really important that you make sure that you're registering for a full schedule. So we know that sometimes classes fill, and that's okay. There's plenty of time between now and August to make some changes. But when we think about Maj's core classes, if one section fills, find another one that sounds interesting to you. Summer classes are also coming up. So that registration for that starts on March 23rd. You can find the classes that are being offered in the Nest right now. When we think about registering for summer classes, kind of keep in mind a couple of things, that they might be primarily online, and they're also likely going to be at a much faster pace than maybe what you're used to in a semester. So we're taking a 16-week semester and condensing it down into 5 to 8 weeks. So again, you can kind of see how long a summer course is going to run when you look that up in the Nest. Make sure you're discussing kind of the pros and cons of those summer courses with your RSP advisor as well. Some students also ask about taking summer courses at another institution, so maybe a community college or maybe another institution near your home. We call that transient study. And the thing to kind of keep in mind with that is that those courses that you potentially are going to be taking at another institution need to be approved by your dean's office. So make sure that you're visiting with your RSP advisor and your dean's office prior to paying for and registering for summer courses, so that you can make sure that if you do take those courses, they're going to transfer in like you think they're going to. If you are pre-health or pre-law and you have questions, feel free to reach out to our office. We're happy to help with those specific questions about sequencing those prerequisite courses.
Thank you so much, Megan. I always am really excited to have somebody from the CARS team on these webinars, because it is helpful to talk through what registering looks like and then answer questions in our Q&A at the end. So thank you, Megan. We're going to keep rolling along, and next up we have Chris Hill, who is from Res Life. He's going to share a couple slides. And so Chris, you have the floor.
Yay! Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Hill. I use the he series of pronouns, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Residential Life. I am here tonight representing not only the Department of Residential Life, but our partners in Housing and Auxiliary Services. And so I'm going to throw some dates your way, but also talk a little bit about the living experience as well. So first, starting with housing recontracting. And so thinking about our 2-year live-on requirement, that is underway. Let's say, for example, you are really wondering about that McGloin quad, living with a 4-person room in McGloin, or you've never been to Hyder and you want to see what that looks like. Oh, great questions. Our sophomore open house is tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. So feel free to stop by at any of our sophomore residence halls and get a tour from our living and student staff to see what a space looks like. So that way you'll be prepared when the process begins. If you're still working on your application, never fret. The application is not due until March 20th. So you still have time to submit your housing application, as well as solidifying your roommate groups. And then during that week of March 20th, you will get your time slot of when you'll be doing your selections. And that will begin on March 27th. So get excited. As we transition, talking about the living experience, what a great time that you are able to live with your peers and grow and develop. And so a couple of those ways that we hope you're doing that is through programming and excursions. Our living student staff are really being intentional about creating programs that are going to help kind of with that co-curricular experience. And so highly encourage you to engage with your RAs through those programming and through those experiences. If a large group experience isn't your jam, also know that we do offer those intentional conversations with your fellow peers or with RAs. Feel free to ask them about discerning through problems or through questions that you may have. Take those opportunities to really have those conversations, because those are the ways in which you will grow. Lastly, thinking about your experience this year and transitioning into next year, I know you probably have heard this a lot, but it is important that you maintain that healthy and consistent stream of communication with your roommate. Again, not saying that you all have to be best friends, but making sure that you all are able to work through those tension and problematic pieces, being able to work together to find solutions that's going to be beneficial for you both. Because at the end of the day, those conversations and those growth pieces is how you truly grow as a student here at Creighton. And lastly, we're going to go to the next slide, because as you're transitioning to your sophomore experience, I thought it would be also a great opportunity to talk about what opportunities are available for you all to grow next year. And so I want to go through 3 different experiences that we offer here in the Department of Residential Life. And so our partnership with our student organization, or our governing housing body, the Inter-Residence Hall Government, is a great opportunity to, again, advocate for your living experience and create those experiences. We currently still have some executive board positions still available. And so if that is still something that you're still truly interested in, whether it's through programming or through legislative pieces, please feel free to apply for those positions. If you want something definitely a little bit more centralized to your residence hall, know that Residence Hall Council will still be available for you to, again, to advocate to create those event pieces as well. And elections for those happen in the first week of September. So please make sure to put that on your calendar. Lastly, if you were like me and had an amazing experience because I had an RA that was truly phenomenal and cared about my sense of belonging, and I knew I wanted to be that for others, great feelings. You should also consider joining our department as either a resident advisor or an assistant resident director. And that sophomore year is the ideal time to apply for that. And so applications will open on October 1st. And so again, if you have any questions about that process or any of these leadership opportunities, feel free to reach out to the Residential Life Department, either your RA, your resident director, or myself, and we will be able to give you those resources and information. Otherwise, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Chris. It's always helpful to see all this information outlined with the dates and leadership opportunities. I have a question for you before you mute yourself. When you and I talked last week or so, you said that you work primarily with our sophomore students. Is that right?
That is correct. I do.
Oh, great. And so I think that I was just excited to have you on this call, because knowing that we probably have some first-year families on the call today. Chris is somebody whose students who are our sophomore students living on campus are going to be interacting with quite a bit next year. So again, if anyone has questions, Chris is your go-to as far as residence life is concerned. And so again, Chris, thank you for being on the call today.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much.
Okay, let's keep on rolling. Next up, we have Ryan McLaughlin from Academic Success. Ryan, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Anne. I've got 160 pounds of dog that are feeling a little restless. So if we hear barking, apologies up front. But I'm Ryan McLaughlin. I am the Assistant Director of Academic Success, which is, when we talk about thriving, this is the academic side of thriving. So when people think of academic success, I think one thing that immediately comes to mind is tutoring. And we offer tutoring in a number of ways. We've got I like to call it the classic one-on-one tutoring, but we have drop-in and attached tutoring in select biology, chemistry, and physics courses, and math, yep, and supplemental instruction in some of our nursing courses. We can also help students coordinate study groups or do study partner sessions with our academic success peer mentors and graduate assistants in the success hubs within the residence halls. As far as academic management goes, academic coaching is one thing that I do for a big portion of my day. And that's kind of helping students get through that other piece of their academics, which isn't content related, but rather everything else, your time management, your study skills, your everything that goes into being good at being a student. And we have academic success peer mentors that hold drop-in hours in our success hubs within the residence halls, the first year residence halls. So another piece of my duties within our office is I oversee our academic intervention programs, which are designed for students who may have run into a little bit of a challenge in a semester. And so maybe they've landed themselves on a probationary status with the dean's offices, and we provide extra levels of support for those students as they navigate to get themselves back into better standing. A couple important reminders. Right now, in this semester, the last day to withdraw from a course with a W on your transcript is March 31st by 4:30 p.m. In order to do that, students need to meet with their RSP advisor and fill out paperwork to make sure that everything gets forwarded properly to the dean's offices and the registrar to get them removed from that class. Our last day of tutoring will be April 28th because our tutoring staff is also students who need to prepare themselves for their finals as well. You can reach us with any questions at tutoring@creighton.edu. And over here, we just like to provide a little bit of data, and this is data from last year, but we tend to see 6,000 plus visits a year to tutoring, and that's across all tutoring that we offer. And it's always important for me and my colleagues to point that out because it really is something that we've worked really hard to create as kind of the culture of Creighton. We use resources to make sure we do well. And it's for everybody. It's not just for students who are struggling. I talk to plenty of students throughout every week who are doing just fine academically. They just want to do better.
Thank you, Ryan. I love that last point that you shared because it's true. Our office is also in the Success Center, and that Success Center is just always buzzing with all types of students. And so when you walk in, you're among all sorts of different types of peers, and again, just a great place to work on your tutoring, your studying, your connecting with peers. So thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
We're going to keep moving forward, and our next speaker is Sangeeta Kumar from Student Counseling. Sangeeta, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to kind of transition a little bit from data to issues. You know, I work in the counseling center. I'm a clinical social worker, and I've been here 8 years. And these are just some issues that we see in the counseling center. I won't read them all to you, but I will say, you know, depression, anxiety, transitioning to school, family issues, identity, drug and alcohol, like whatever it is, we are here to serve you in the counseling center. You don't have to have a mental illness to be in our counseling center. We are confidential and we are here to help. So this is one number I would ask all of the families that are on the line or watch the webinar to put in their phones. It's 402-280-2256 or the word CALM. That is our number. Day and night, you can access somebody for counseling. And I think what I've seen with our students is that while college is fun and exciting and a dream in a lot of ways, it's also very hard and very difficult. And we see students from all walks of life who access our services. I suppose a couple of data points are we have probably over 1,300 students that we see in our counseling center. We have about 30% of our student population that we have contact with. And so we are a well-utilized service, and we're free. So I just want you families to notice that we're free. So, and we're unlimited. So those are a couple things that I want you to know if your student is struggling. On the next slide, I can tell you some of our services. So again, our number, the 402-280-2256. So one thing I want parents to know, if you ever get a call from a 402-280 number that is specifically Creighton, that is not Omaha, that is not any other place in Nebraska, that is specifically Creighton, it's the 280. That means somebody from Creighton is trying to get a hold of you or your student. So that is a number I want you to kind of memorize, the 402-280. But just for our services, we changed our delivery model for our students, where we now offer, it can be a 1 or 2 time session, it can be 3 to 6 sessions, it can be more than that, it can be longer than that. But we changed our model so that students can get in. So we used to have, for some historical reference, we used to have about 100 student wait list per semester, and now we can get students in within 1 to 3 days. So that is super exciting. We also have psychiatric services that is billed. So while our counseling services are free, our psychiatric services are billed through insurance, whether it's student insurance or whether it's through one of a parent insurance. But that's, just kind of a normal doctor thing. We have workshops and groups that we offer weekly and monthly, individual counseling, couples counseling. We have crisis services, daytime or after hours. I'm actually the crisis manager, so I field all the calls during the day, but after hours we have another service, and you just call the same line. It's the 402-280-2256, and you will get a crisis counselor after that. We do consultations. If you're just not sure what to do, I have a lot of parents who call and they say, I don't know what to do about my child. I'm not sure what to do. How do I get them help? What do I do? How do I support? We can talk to you about that. It doesn't have to be anything formal. It can just be you talk to a professional about it. We also do ADHD and learning disability assessments. There's a fee with that, but it's also a fraction of the cost that it is in community assessments. And we also have Pell Grant cost to that too. So that is like way lower than anything else. And then we do a lot of outreach and education around campus about mental health and stress management, coping skills. And then if you look and see our little doggy here, that is Coco. She's our therapy dog, and I always joke she's the most popular girl on campus. You can follow her on Instagram at Coco the Counselor, like COCAA, Coco. And she has office hours. She does events. She is in sessions, and everybody loves her. So those are just some of our services that we offer. But I just want you and your student to know that we are a free service, and we are here to help for any of your student needs. So thank you.
Thank you, Sangeetha. It's always helpful to hear all the different resources available at Creighton. Before we jump into our student representatives, I just want to reiterate all of why we've brought all these people together on this call. Again, the hope is that we are creating this communication path to where you're seeing people at Creighton who really value that respect and inclusion in our campus climate. And so if you have questions, if your student has questions, these are all great leaders throughout Creighton University who you can reach out to. We want to extend that hand. And again, that's why we wanted to put everyone on this call together. So with that, I think it's time to enter almost that final portion of our presentation. I always feel so lucky when we have student representatives on these webinars because I think it brings something extra special. And so what I'd like to do is I'll have each student introduce themselves, but then I'm going to pose a question to each of them. And the question that I'll have you both think about is, knowing that our audience tonight is students of color and their families, what advice could you give to students who might be finishing up their first year? And what advice could you give to students and families that really highlights what it means to be a student at Creighton? So I will go ahead and pass it over to Serena. So Serena, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Serena. Like I said earlier, I'm a freshman in the College of Arts and Sciences. I am currently studying to major in psychology on the pre-optometry track. So yeah, that's me.
Great, Serena. And what advice do you have for students and families who might be finishing up that first year at Creighton?
Yeah, so some advice I would give to students specifically is just to get involved. And like we talked about the CIC earlier, and that is one of my favorite places to go. I have a job there and I spend a lot of my hangout time there, a lot of study time there. And those kind of places, you surround yourself with people who have similar backgrounds as you, as well as the same mindset as you. So just being involved and surrounding yourself in places and around people who are similar to you really helps your transition with Creighton, as well as feeling as though you belong here.
Thank you so much, Serena. And can we pass it over then to Kenzie? Kenzie, would you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Kenzie. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a junior here in the College of Arts and Sciences, a double majoring in philosophy and international relations on the pre-law track with a minor in Spanish.
Tremendous. Kenzie, what advice do you have for our parents and families on the call?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I would definitely kind of echo what Serena said, and I would say lean into the process. I feel like college is definitely a really big transition, and I think that what makes it easier is kind of taking it as it comes and like doing what you can to remember what makes you happy and to continue pursuing that. So like get involved, find things that you're interested in, and make sure you're kind of like taking as much advantage of as you can of this experience, excuse me. Because I mean, as scary as college seems at first, it really is a period for us to kind of explore and learn more about ourselves. And you'll never find a more perfect time to do that than now. So.
Oh, that's great. And Kenzie, we know that at Creighton, the best is always yet to come, particularly in sophomore year. Could you share with us or recall a memory that was important to you your sophomore year?
Yeah, actually, so my first semester of sophomore year, I studied abroad, and that was such an amazing experience. I mean, I learned so much from it. I feel like I got all those study abroad cliches, you know. And I think the biggest thing that I learned from doing that was that the world really is within reach. Like it's just right there for you, and you just got to go grab it.
That's tremendous, especially at Creighton. The world, it really all is within an arm's reach. And the people on this call, our faculty and staff, are here to help you reach those goals and live large. Thank you, Kenzie. Serena, I'm going to kind of pick the same question, kick it your way, although I know this is your first year. What was a memory or experience that you can share with us while you were at Creighton, something that was special or memorable?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess a memory I'd like to share is that, so I'm involved in COLSA. It's the Creighton University Latino Student Association. So I joined that last semester, so in the fall, and I got really involved in that, just going to different activities. We hosted like a Dia de los Muertos celebration here on campus. And then I figured I wanted to get more involved. And so I ran for an exec position, and I ran for vice president, and I got that position. So now I am using that to plan more events, more volunteer activities. So that was a really big thing that happened this semester that I'm really proud of, and hopefully we'll do a lot of good with. So yeah.
Oh, tremendous. Thank you for sharing that. And those are really good, memorable experiences. Thank you. Well, I think now we're going to kick it to our next slide. Thank you, Kenzie and Serena. And so this is a quick reminder, folks who are watching at home, make sure that you use that Q&A function at the bottom. If you have questions, big questions, little questions, our panelists are here to answer them. But I will have Ryan stop sharing his screen, and that's going to kick us into like this Brady Bunch view so you can see everybody on the call. Hi, everyone. While I wait for questions to come in from our viewers, I have a couple questions that were submitted ahead of time. And this first one is for Jeremy. So Jeremy, it's coming your way. What can the Career Center do to help students find internships? And can you help students find internships in particular locations?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say, first of all, meet with a career advisor earlier in the school year. The earlier, the better. It's not terribly late yet for this summer, but I would get in as soon as you can. So we have employer and alumni connections all over the country. I actually traveled about 10 different cities, 8 to 10 different cities a year to meet with employers in different markets. And for example, last week I was just in New York City for 4 days meeting with employers and alumni. I've been to Denver, Chicago, Minneapolis, Phoenix, San Francisco, Kansas City, et cetera, to help cultivate those opportunities for students. But we're an institution of about 4,400 undergrads, and we had over 10,000 internships posted on our Career Center's Handshake site last year. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities that you can do back home or in Omaha during the school year or in the summer. But we certainly help students with everything during that process, helping you prepare and make your resume professional, with your cover letters, help you teach you resources and sites to where to look for internships, help you with your LinkedIn profile of how to network and how to connect with professionals for networking. And then we can help with those employer recruiter contacts, alumni connections on top of that. And then once you land those interviews, we have interview prep meetings and mock interview appointments that students can participate in to help you land those great opportunities.
Thank you, Jeremy. This next question is for Megan Fu. Megan, what should students do if they don't know what classes to pick out? Do they need to have their schedule built before that advising appointment?
No, so that's one of the things that you really work collaboratively with your faculty advisor on. Part of the RSP experience is teaching you kind of how to navigate some of those requirements and how to look for classes. So certainly if you have an idea of what you're interested in taking, that can be really helpful, but certainly your faculty member can help you give you some of that direction as well. And I will say, if you are curious about different majors and minors that you could explore, we're doing a major minor exploration fair tomorrow morning in Scott Ballroom from 11:30 to 2:30. So that's a great place to stop by and just go visit with different departments. The Center for Undergraduate Research and Scholarship that Jeremy talked about earlier is also going to have a table there. So that can be a really great way of getting connected with different resources and kind of exploring majors that you might not know exist or things that you might really connect with.
Thank you, Megan. And good reminder on that Majors More Exploration Fair. Thank you. Dr. Walker, this next question is for you. And it's similar to the question we asked Serena and Kenzie. Knowing that first-year students are finishing up their first year of college, what advice do you have for them to finish strong?
Okay, so I'm going to put on my professor hat for just a second. So I came to Creighton to teach in the Heider College of Business, so I'm a professor of management as well. And I think that, I'd give them the same advice that I gave them when they were, seniors in high school, and that's to be a sponge, right? And so I think that means, learn it as much as you can learn, like have that sort of mindset about, like there's lots of things out there that we don't know yet. And so what has you curious and what can you explore and dive deeper into and just be open, right? To be open-minded about opportunities at Creighton and even like what life looks like 3 years from now, and just know that the time will pass quickly. So be as much of a sponge as you can. It's going to be senior year, but before you know it, whether or not you're a sponge, but I think that having that open mindset and being willing to learn, to try new things, to explore. So for instance, Kinsey is on this call, and I've known her since she was a first year. And so kind of watched her grow and just try different things, so that could be volunteering or student work or being in participating in a variety of programming. There's fraternity and sorority life. So lots of opportunities to figure out what it is that you like, what are the spaces on campus where you thrive, and how can we help you become the best you that you can be. And so I think that, being open-minded allows you to, find what that little niche is.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. This next question is for Sangeeta, and it was submitted ahead of time. If a student has gone to counseling services several years ago, do they need to reach back out to their original counselor, or do they start with the front desk? What does that process look like?
Oh, that's a great question. So really start with the front desk. What they will do is they will look and see if you saw any of our staff before, and then they will put you with that person again. which is called a quick access appointment. But if you're like, no, I want somebody else, then you just tell them that, and then they will reassign you to somebody else. So it's pretty easy. We try to make it as friendly and easy, I guess, as possible. If you're coming back to our services, so you just call and we will set you up. And literally, like, if you don't want to see anybody, just come see me. Like, just come see me. It's totally fine. Like, we will get you your needs, whatever you want. But yeah, you just call that 402-280-2256 number, and we will get you set up.
Thank you. That's very helpful. This next question is for Ryan. Ryan, I'm new at Creighton. I started in July, so almost have a full year. And there's an experience that I keep hearing about that I want to learn more about. Can you tell me what the finals scream is, or share one of your favorite traditions on campus?
Yeah, so Final Scream, this was started a few years ago by my friend and mentor, Dr. Joe Eklund, who many of us on here know. So he served as the director of academic success for many years, and I worked under him. But essentially, he gets we get with the library staff, and they put a countdown clock out on the Sunday night. Well, it used to be Sunday night, but I think now it's a Tuesday night, to count down all the way to when finals start, which has been happening. It's kind of changed times, but it's usually at night at some point, 11, 10, 9. We kind of figure out how it works staffing wise, but we get some students to help gather interest and get people out, and we have a countdown. And the idea behind it is, okay, it's been stressful getting prepared for this. Let me go outside and scream as loud as I can when this clock hits 0. Get it all out. Tomorrow I get at it.
Oh my gosh, my college did that. When I was in college, we did that. It was called the Primal Scream during final.
Yeah, Final Scream, Primal Scream, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Final Scream. And we'll be doing that again this year. As a matter of fact, we just met about it today.
Well, look at that. Oh, tremendous. Again, I think that big part of college are those memorable, unique traditions that only your university or St. Gita's University does. So wanted to give students.
We'll also be working with some other staff around the university to put together some different things leading up to finals as well. So Final Scream, and I know the university does late night breakfast and some other things that really just kind of help to bring nerves down. You know, it's a students feel a lot of pressure during this time, but use that pressure as that the pressure can be seen in a lot of different ways, but look at it as, hey, you know what? I do feel pressure because I care.
Oh, that's tremendous. Thank you, Ryan.
Sure.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to close things up here. I just wanted to thank all of our panelists for joining us tonight. Again, this is a group of leaders across campus who really value the importance of bringing together the message of inclusion and respect. And I think that can really impact our campus climate. And I want everyone at home to remember that these are people that we want you to reach out to. We want to open those lines of communication. So again, thanks to the folks on the panel. Thank you also to our behind the scenes folks. Our Vice Provost of Academic Success, Dr. Wayne Young, is fielding the Q&A behind the scenes, as well as Robert Weisler is the man who sets up a lot of the tech pieces of this. So thank you, Robert, as well. I'm going to just close with a little bit of a commercial of the Success Center at Creighton University, because it really is, in a sense, a one-stop shop for students if they don't know what their next step is. We have our Office of Student and Family Support, who manages our Student and Family Support Desk. So what we tell parents and families, if you don't know what to do, call 1212. So essentially, we're asking you to call us at 402-280-1212. You can also reach out to us at thrive@creighton.edu. Again, right now is our Strive to Thrive campaign, and our goal is to open up those lines of communications to where if you think you or your student or your roommate or a friend needs a little extra care or outreach, we are here to help navigate that with students. So please, again, reach out to thrive@creighton.edu. All right, folks, I think we're gonna close another Bluejay Live, but thank you all for being here. Folks at home, continue to reach out and go Blue Jays.